Welcome to a new episode of Outside the Panels with your host, Johnny the Machine Hughes.
Welcome everyone to another episode of Outside the Panels. I'm your host, Johnny the Machine Hughes, and if, like me, you're a little bit sick of the big two kind of taking libos with their advertising and then dropping deaths of characters that have no idea what they're doing in the main storyline, maybe you want to try something different. Well, why don't you head over to Kickstarter where you get a whole range of different comics. And this time around, I'm talking to a creator of one such comic is the ultra-talented Brandon Starocci. Brandon, how's it going?
It's going good. How are you?
Yeah, very well. Very well. So you have a Kickstarter going, I believe, correct?
Yes, I do.
Yes, excellent. And how is that going for you right now?
So far, so good. We decided to go a little bit longer for the Kickstarter, so Demetrius has a little more of a leeway to finish his artwork for issue 4 and 5. And obviously, since we're doing a double issue, we just wanted a little bit more time to kind of promote it and push Avalon onto people.
Cool. So, Avalon. I've got the Kickstarter page ready to go. Should we have a look at the video and see what it says?
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, let's do it. Yes. I like your optimism. Fantastic. Where am I looking for? There it is. Just add it to the screen and we'll see it in 2 seconds. We'll have a look at the video. Here we go.
Hello everyone, I'm Brandon Starocci, creator and writer of Avalon.
And I'm Callie Overlander, the newest addition to Avalon Comics. So, what is Avalon?
That is a great question, isn't it? Avalon is a brand new post-apocalyptic comic book that has a little bit of something for everyone.
A story that stays true to the zombie genre, but adds in its own originality.
You begin this world by following the Castle family at their youngest son's super sweet 16th birthday party. And let me tell you something, it ain't gonna be so sweet.
Right away, you're going to see sprinklings of mental health issues arise, like anxiety and depression.
Sprinkles. Sprinkles? Okay.
Yeah.
As you begin to read this story and understand the characters a little bit more, you immediately understand that Avalon's infection isn't your typical zombie outbreak. As you can tell by the scratches on their eyes and how they do.
Oh, wait. I feel like they should read it and find out on their own.
Am I getting ahead of myself?
Yeah.
You most certainly are.
That's my bad. So let's move on to the next thing. Why would someone choose to read Avalon?
Well, absolutely. I feel like there are so many reasons why. It's so many relatable things, like issues like bullying, mental health, physical health. You have realistic decision making and those consequences to those decisions. You have family problems, and of course, what we all came here for, the zombies.
The zombies were there. How do you explain why you said yes to join the Avalon team?
Okay, yeah. I said yes to Avalon for a variety of reasons. I love horror, and I love that a horror comic was being made right here in my hometown of Erie, Pennsylvania. And Avalon takes place here in Erie as well. Having the opportunity to be a part of something that's being written in my hometown, for my hometown, is amazing enough, and were all reasons enough to join. But then I started talking to the creators of Avalon, and I realized that this wasn't just another zombie story. There was something really unique about it, and I wanted to be a part of this unique adventure.
Guys, Demetrius is on the line.
Oh, here, send him in.
Oh, yeah. Hello, Demetrius.
Hey,
it's
Demetrius.
good to see you.
Good to see you.
Hello, I made it. Well, good to see you both and everybody on Kickstarter here. I'm Dimitris Nastos. I'm the artist of Avalon comic, and I have a few things to say about it. Avalon is the very first comic that I get a chance to work on that was about to be published, so it was a big thing for me. And reading the script, the first script of issue 1, I'm loving the character development, the horror and noir elements that it had, along with the slow burn of the story. That was pretty much the reasons why I said yes. So here we are. And me personally, myself, I'm thinking of new ways of utilizing panels and using them in a great way to tell the story that the whole team has created. So you should be really excited for. So I have to go.
He seemed like he was in a hurry too.
Yeah. That was strange, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Whoa! What was that?
I don't know, but I feel like
We gotta go.
We gotta go. But before we go, before the apocalypse catches up to you.
Get your copy of Avalon now, okay?
Yeah.
Oh dear me. I don't know if I'm. Oh my god.
We forgot to
All right.
mention on that we robbed a bank before we filmed that, so that's
Did
what
you?
that was.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, right. Whatevs. All right, excellent. So, a zombie apocalypse story, centered around a family.
Yep.
Not your traditional story, and you've thrown in some mental health issues, anxiety, depression, that sort of thing. First off, I always thought Erie was in Indiana. That's because I thought the TV show was about that, right?
There might be there's a Erie in New York as well. They're kind of everywhere, but I think Erie, Pennsylvania is the most universal because the lake above us. Yeah.
Cool, excellent. So, what was it that made you think to yourself, you know what, zombies and anxiety and mental health go hand in hand?
I mean, there's really many reasons of it. The question way back then when I had the idea of Avalon, the question that arose for it was how would I survive in the zombie apocalypse? And then I kind of, thought about it in a way where it's like, okay, first things first, I want to take care of my family and all that stuff as well, and then friends as well. And then having family members and friends that deal with anxiety and depression or, physical illnesses that they have to kind of attest to every single day and kind of deal with every single day. That's kind of what worked its way into the story of Avalon, and trying to see, how anybody can kind of pick this comic book up and go, oh yeah, I relate to this character because of X, Y, and Z. If they have to take a medication every single day, or if they're kind of limited to kind of some physical activities because of asthma or something like that as well, but just I think that adds a whole new realism to the world. We wanted to kind of base it on a lot of reality, as much reality as we could in a fictional world, and those are the big kind of things that we wanted to add to it.
It's interesting because mental health is such a prominence right now, and it has been, I suppose, for the last 5 years or so. There's actually a massive, and it should be a massive move towards destigmatizing mental health. People should be able to talk about it, whether you're male, female, non-binary, going through transition, whatever it may be. Did you find that writing those aspects kind of unique? So kind of think about, I suppose, zombies, right? It's like, you know what zombies going to get you, right? We've all seen The Walking Dead. Some more than others. I did check out Early Doors, I must admit. It's when they kill the kid in the farm. It's like, why? Why do you need to kill the kid? You spent half a season looking for her. Now you kill her. It's like, I've just wasted half a season. Why? Spoilers alert.
Letting you know that you're serious.
Yeah. That's like season 3. So I was like, out, done, next. No. I want to be a payoff at the end. I don't want the character to die. It's like trying to blow up the Death Star at the end of Star Wars, and the Death Star survives and blows up the rebel planet. You're like, oh yeah, no point watching that.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So I mean, I get that zombies are zombies, right? But then, how difficult is it for you to kind of to write both the zombie element, the horror element? Because I think horror is hard to do in comics anyway. And then add in the other textures of mental health.
I'm a big fan of stories or movies or shows, whatever it might be, that the characters get beaten down to a pulp. And the reason because of that is because then you find out who people really are. And I've been a fan of the zombie genre, almost all my life, for as long as I can remember. So it was almost easy, kind of just because I was always thinking in that mindset, my whole like young teen, late teen, early 20 kind of mentality. So with that being said, adding those elements to it as well, I think were necessary because, again, it comes down to the question where it's like, how would I survive in the zombie apocalypse? And now anybody can pick it up and ask that same question and go, okay, I'm dealing with this kind of illness, or I'm dealing with this kind of physical setback. How would I pan out? And then you're able to do that. And when we get more issues out, we're going to start having more and more characters come into this series where people can relate to, and that's kind of one of our biggest things, is trying to make everyone able to pick it up and relate to it and enjoy it, and trying to make it as real as possible. And that's the way of the world right now, because anybody has to deal with something, anything, if you have to, like I said, we had to deal with it a couple of years ago with the pandemic and all that stuff. People weren't getting the medications and all that stuff. They weren't being stored or stocked up in the pharmacies. Now so that kind of helps our point with this comic book on like how people would act and what people would do in a time of crisis as well. So that kind of is in our favor in writing this, so people can definitely relate to it because they've lived it.
So you make a great point there, Brandon. I was watching something on TV last night, and I can't remember what it was. I've slept since then. But there was I haven't been to work. So there was something about the pandemic on, and the person was saying they couldn't do this or they couldn't go out. And I'm thinking, it hit me because the pandemic was a worldwide thing.
Yeah.
So in the UK, we were told for periods of time you have to stay in the house, you can't go to work, you couldn't go and walk for an hour and all that sort of stuff, right? You had a queue 2 meters apart outside the stores to get your food and all that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Because it's so insular existence, you forget that the rest of the world went through exactly the same.
Yeah. And honestly, to even piggyback off what you're saying as well, how what was the first thing you said?
Shared experiences in the COVID and how it affects everybody, not just yourself.
What was the thing you said before that?
I don't know. I wasn't listening. I'm too busy talking.
Because it's a thing I like to bring up all the time too, because it's very relevant to what we're doing here. Yeah, okay. So basically, it was the thing where it's like everybody was dealing with it.
Yes.
And with everybody dealing with it, it was that question that everybody had, like, okay, am I going to work tomorrow? Am I allowed to go to the grocery store? What's going on tomorrow? And that's going to be something that we really show in Avalon as well, is because, there's a difference in our kind of zombie or infected that we have. It's a slight difference that you will find out at the end of this season 1, and it's going to be in the beginning of season 2-ish. And that's what's going to raise that question where it's like, okay, am I going to work tomorrow, or what's going on? Am I just hunkering down somewhere, or what? So that's going to be another thing that people could relate to because everybody in the world dealt with it.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't know what it was like over your neck of the woods, but for us, I think it started hitting people a lot when the regular soap operas went, because the soap operas over here were on like every day practically, and then during the pandemic they dropped to every other day. Then it was like twice a week. Then it was once a week, and then it was like, you know what? We filmed no new episodes. That's it.
Right.
And that sense of routine for people that they had.
Yeah.
It's all right. The soap operas are on. It's all right. Then all of a sudden everything goes. You're like, what?
You're like, hang on a second. That's what I'm saying. It's like it puts a crash or a halt on everything, because then now, like you said, everything that's routine and everything that you do on a day-to-day basis, it got disrupted. And although COVID was a crazy thing that everybody had to deal with, that's something that people can take that experience and kind of, when you're reading Avalon, you could relate to it, because now and it's a little more believable because everybody sees it. Everybody saw it on the news. Everybody was there, witnessed it. So it's like, so these things aren't going to be so far-fetched when you read them in Avalon. And so that helps us in our favor with this whole thing, because like I said, everybody saw it. Everybody knows what people did and what levels people took things to get something done.
I like the idea how you're looking to incorporate as many different aspects of, I suppose you would say, mental health, anxiety, depression, PTSD will probably raise its head somewhere along the line. Do you worry that, and this is, I suppose, it has to be on your shoulders as the writer, how you manage to balance that brevity against the more horror elements that make a book entertaining? Because people read comics to be entertained.
Yeah, just to get the whole question because you cut out a little bit. It was
Oh,
because
sorry.
bringing the reality into a fictional world.
Yeah, so like bringing like so much reality into like a fictional world. Because what we're talking about when we talk about mental health,
Yeah,
anxiety, depression, PTSD, that sort of thing, that's quite heavy subjects to balance off against the fun bit. When you think to yourself, well, I want to read a comic because I want to kick back and read it in the bath, and then all of a sudden you talk about mental health and all this. Whilst I absolutely totally applaud it, it should be done because we should be talking about mental health. From a
yeah.
creative point of view, how do you make sure that you don't, I suppose, overstep or over preach and then maintain that sense of fun?
A lot of it is having a good team around you, and because I know what I want in this thing ultimately, and a lot of it is real already. It's a lot of it is like I said, I've seen like my family's dealing with it, or a friend is dealing with it. Like this is like real stuff. Like even in the first issue, a lot of it was real conversations that I've heard or I've had with people. And it's just the playful conversations that that people have on a day-to-day basis are important as well. Those little small talk moments that you have with a friend or family member, and then kind of to even go to your point even more though is just it's because I think it's just because it's so close to home with me. I know it, and then again having the team around me to make sure this stuff isn't, like you said, being pushed way too much or not being pushed enough, or making sure it's in that perfect median moving forward. And because honestly I don't know what the hell I'm doing. I just kind of to have people around me that kind of keep me straight and all that stuff too, and making sure I'm on tracks helps.
Cool, excellent. I think writing horror is really hard for comic books. I mean, every time I see a horror in the movies, that you can see the shadows and the doors going to creak up slowly, and there's someone going to be behind the door, and then the music jumps, and then there's somebody behind the door. You're like, yeah, I knew that. In comic books, you lose a sense of that because there is no kind of like tension building. You've got to rely on the art, the script. So how do you kind of evoke that sense of horror? And I've noticed on the pages that there's predominantly grayscale with flashes of red. Was this part of that whole generating the horror vibe?
Yeah, so the original idea was to save money. We wanted to roll with the black and white to save a little bit of money there. And then the idea kind of stemmed by adding the blood, because I read the Walking Dead comic books, and it's a small little critique, but I just didn't like how it was like annoying. Sometimes you couldn't tell what was blood. So I was like, okay, black, white, and blood. And then the idea was great. And then when we met Demetrius and had him start doing it, and how he evolved into doing what he's doing now, it makes that idea much better. It makes me look smarter when he can kind of illustrate it the way he does, because he does such a phenomenal job with the artwork and the pops of the blood and how it looks wet and looks like it's coming off the page and all that good stuff. And how he's able to utilize, like how you could see the bottom text down there with the blood splashing above the panel and underneath the panel. That's something that wasn't even scripted. It just he's able to know what I want over the time span we've worked with each other, and kind of just put it on page and really kind of articulate it in like a horistic kind of fashion. And and again, the writing part of it is one thing, but the way he can kind of illustrate it is another thing, and how he can make those I guess suspenseful, scary scenes kind of pop, and like the intense moments. He's able to do that with his art style, so that just helps our process with the writing, and for the reader to kind of see it and feel that moment.
Excellent. It looks great. I mean, I like that page predominantly. The big characters and the big hands.
Yeah.
I like that whole kind of style. We'll get into the art after our mini break coming up in a second. What's your inspiration then? You say you watched The Walking Dead previously.
Yeah.
What other kind of where else do you get your inspiration? Obviously, real life for the mental health aspects and stuff.
Yeah.
And I really like that, Brandon. It means that you're showing it realistically, not some sort of comic book version of what anxiety should be. Yeah, so that's a tip my hat for that, definitely.
Yeah, a lot of inspiration, obviously, like you've already mentioned the first couple there. Just zombie genre in itself. Dawn of the Dead, the original Night of the Living Dead, and just those whole kind of classic traditional zombies, and just like the way the characters were. And then I'm a huge fan of the movie 30 Days of Night, and that kind of brings that dark element to it as well, and the suspenseful kind of like vampire-like things. We kind of put that in our Avalon as well. Even if you liked the remake or the reboot, The Crazies. That was a big, inspiration as well. The small town feel, and then kind of the questions of what's going on, and those, how that kind of progressed over the whole film and all that stuff too, is like kind of what we're doing in more issues, spread out a little more with like what's going on. It's so fast paced, and then like you gotta get to A to B quick, and you gotta find your family, take care of your family, and get them to B, and all those. So, but stuff like that, is what kind of inspires this kind of project moving forward. And I don't know exactly what does for Demetrius's art style. I've heard that a lot of people say it looks similar to the old Todd McFarlane kind of art style. And
I have written, I don't know if you can see that. There you go. In my notes, McFarlane, Capullo.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Like, and like even the Sin City kind of vibe too. I've heard from people. It's just like a bunch of different things, and I don't know where he draws his inspiration from, but I like it. I think it fits for what we're trying to tell here, and I think he just solidifies Avalon for what it is with his art style.
Why comic books? If you're such as a massive movie fan, what made you think to yourself, you know what, I'm going to do this, I'm going to run this project? Why make it a comic book?
A lot cheaper. Not that it's cheap, but it's a lot cheaper than making a movie or a show or whatever it is. The original idea was supposed to be a movie / show. And then, like, I didn't know what I was doing this is way back in high school. I didn't know.
I was going to say, hopefully you weren't going to do the acting in that either, right?
Oh, no, please. No. So that's what I'm saying. So it's just like all that stuff. So, and then it was going to be a novel. And then Alan and I were kind of going back and forth with it. And then I don't like reading like books like that, like a lot of words on page there. It drives me nuts. So then I saw the Walking Dead comic book on my desk, and that's when we were like, I shot him the text and asked him. I said, why don't we do a comic book instead? And then I kind of explained it. And he texted me back, just kind of explain it to me in person. And then when we got together again, I told him the whole idea and what where my head was at, and then he liked it. So then we were on the search for a comic artist.
Cool. Excellent. Right, we'll get into that search and some more art for the book in a little while. Time for one of our breaks for one of our other shows. Where shall we go? I don't know. There's nothing that really... I tell you what, we all like a bit of a crisis, don't we? Why don't you check out Crisis in the Toyverse? Need McFarlane for. You need a series of McFarlane toys. There you go.
Yeah, there it is, huh?
Check out Crisis in the Toyverse by my friend Bobo. Talks about all sorts of crazy figures and such in there. And yes, before you get on my case, he does take them out the packets. So if that's going to send you off the deep end, do not watch the show. Whew. All these figure collectors, man, they keep them in that box. I mean, I must admit, I do exactly the same. Mine stay in the box. Cool. All right, excellent. So I want to talk a little bit more about the art. We've got a couple of pages coming up here. I can see where people say McFarlane or Capullo, this kind of panel layout with the circular motion around the final third quarter of that, the bottom third quarter.
Yeah,
absolutely, it screams that kind of image style from the 90s, which is cool. It's cool, and the big faces on that. But did you have... I always think when it comes to projects like this, writers tend to be mini editors in a little bit, because it's your words on the page, and you've put the like camera angle from the left, do this and all that sort of stuff. How much of a takeover Ted are you when it comes to seeing the art?
Yeah. So from issue 1, I was very strict with what I wanted, and I had the idea in my head and all that stuff too, and not, really just starting to get to know Demetrius and all that stuff as well. And, I was trying to figure out where we were going to be at with each other moving forward with the project. And after issue 1, he messages me and tells me that he kind of developed a better art style and something that he's used to now and all that stuff. And I was kind of nervous with that originally, and I didn't, because I'm a person about like consistency. I wanted to keep it consistent. I didn't want to change anything crazy. And he pitched it to me, and he showed me what he was talking about, and then I really liked it. And then this is what it is. The style that you see right now on screen is the style that we're moving forward with, obviously from issue 2 on. And but that's just the beauty of it. This is the style that what he's given us right now with the dark. How he can go from black and make it look all like great together, and not like too much or too little or whatever it is the original. I'm closer to the idea that I had in my head about what the art would look like than issue 1. But issue 1 had that, it was still obviously good. It was good enough to go through the production and what we wanted, but it was more warm feeling, more kind of like inviting, I guess. And this one just like splashes, boom, 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 and and I think that's exactly what we were looking for originally. But again, I guess to answer your question, is I wrote issues 1 through 6 all at once, right? So all that was already written, and then when we had him, it was or like I said, it was already written. So then when he was going through all the panels, a lot of this stuff was him throwing it in there. He had an idea, he would pitch it to me, and I would say, let's see it. He'd send me the pencils, and then it would work, and then we would roll with it. And there are some pages or panels or whatever it is that I'm going to be strict with, probably. I have been for the last couple of issues, and then I'm going to be forward.
Excuse me.
But yeah, overall, it definitely died down a little bit. We built a relationship over the last couple of years, working with each other and having, knowing each other and what we want without even realizing it now, and writing it further, knowing what he's capable of doing is like awesome for us in the writing room.
It's interesting when I hear people talk how they kind of become comfortable with their artist, and it's just really interesting. We talk about different styles just there from like issue 1 to issue 2. If you ever get a chance to pick up a treasury edition or a reprint edition of Star Wars, the original Marvel comic.
I've probably seen it. I've never read it though.
Well, you should, if you get a chance to look at it, or Google the images or whatever you need to do. But the artist for the book is Howard Chaykin, like a massive comic book legend. Issue 1 is so raw, it is unbelievable. You don't even think you're looking at Star Wars. Issue 2, it's all picture perfect. And you're like, what happened there? So I get styles change, right? That's cool.
No, that they do, yeah.
We talked about horror, not for the squeamish. There you go. That's how you do horror in comic books. Go for the jugular. Yeah. Well, from the eyes, maybe.
Oh, yeah. Exactly. And that's
what? Sorry?
Oh, well, that's what I'm saying. Like that's what he's able to do very well, though, too. He can utilize the blood and kind of all like what that image is showing, and use it for the panel cutouts and all that stuff as well. And again, like he puts Avalon on another level, I believe, with the way he can illustrate it and have everybody reading it with that. Brings those dramatic scenes even more to life than what they look like on a white piece of paper.
I you know what? I get that. I absolutely can get that, because I look at that and I think to myself how professional the whole project looks. And I see a lot of comic books. I do this show. I review for Comic Crusaders, so I see a lot of comic books. And yours, Avalon, looks absolutely the bee's knees. I would walk into a comic book store and think, "Oh wow," and pick it up. So you've obviously hit a rich vein of talent on that one. Yeah, definitely. Let's have a look at the Kickstarter, see where we are. So I'm in the UK, hence it's in pounds, but we can switch it up. So this is converted. So it's $917 pledged for a $2,500 goal. 26 backers, 35 days to go. So you've still got a ton of time on that one. Definitely. Yeah. So that's a good thing. Where are we at? What do I like looking at? Here we go. Let's find out what we can get for your money. All right, so $6 gets you PDFs of issues 4 and 5. You know what, Brandon? I absolutely applaud any Kickstarter that runs with PDFs because it has to be the only way. As much as I love having comic books in my hand to flip through them,
Yeah.
the PDFs have to be the only way to entice your international reader.
Right, exactly, and that's the unfortunate thing with it, because I would love to send physical copies out and about, to everybody, but obviously if somebody we've done it before though. There's a couple people actually from the UK that reached out to us and tried to figure out how they can get it, and we worked something out. So honestly, if anybody is out, international and all that stuff as well, and they want this physically, obviously just feel free to reach out and we'll figure something out to get it out to you. And but yeah, like you said, it's the easiest way of making it happen for people to see it.
Definitely, because I don't mind dropping money on a Kickstarter at all. And when I see $6, I'm all right with that, because you can pay that much for a big 2-book in the comic book store.
Yeah.
And this one you're getting 2 issues for your money. If then I have to pay another $25 on top of that to get it sent to me, that's when it becomes a problem. So PDFs for me can work massively. Yeah, as much as I hate them, still. $10 or more gets you the issues 4 and 5 physical, only in the States at this moment. You heard Brandon say it. If you're interested internationally, reach out to the guys. I'll share you some links in a minute, so you can have a look at that. 4 and 5 plus a Miller poster. Excellent, cool. That gets you for $15. Some variant covers coming up again for $15. We all love a good variant. Has to be true.
Yes, I'm a fan of those for sure.
Do they work, do you think, for people? Or
I think so. I think there's definitely a fan base for them. It's just kind of pleasing those people who do enjoy them. You might as well throw them on the Kickstarter if you're making one, just again, so you can have people kind of come by, because there's a fan base for them. I'm one of those people that depending on the comics, I don't just get them for every comic, but if I enjoy a comic, then I'll definitely grab the variants if they have them.
I must admit I'm pick and choosy. So if I like a variant cover, I'll pick up the variant.
Right.
If I don't like the variant, I won't pick it up. It's that simple. It's whatever. Although my one of my local comic book stores, I have 2. One of them has on order, or had on order, I should say. Any Tim Sale cover comes in, goes automatically in my bag. Thank you very much. And the other one has J. Scott Campbell. So any J. Scott Campbell goes in my bag straight away.
Oh yeah.
I don't have to worry about it. So Frank Choi's getting up there as well, but that says more about me than anything else, I suppose. So you get PDF bundle catch up, you get the whole 5 issues, $20. That's a really good price for that, Brandon. That's like $4 a book practically.
Yeah, we wanted to make it a fair price for people to grab it, especially for the new people. Obviously, that would be for the new people, but really intriguing them to kind of come around and kind of at least give us a shot and see what they think about us. Because we're doing 6-issue arcs for our season/volume, whatever you want to call it. So kind of getting it right when it's coming to the end here would be best case.
This is interesting. You saw for your $50. You get PDFs of 1 through 5. You get issues 4 with a variant as well. Excuse me, and issue 5 with a variant. As plus them. That's a ton of it. That's a ton of stuff. And you've already got a background on that one, so that's brilliant. Well done. And the retail one, not so much at the moment. Excellent. Cool. So when it comes to Kickstarters, normally there's stretch goals involved. What do people get for their stretch, my friend?
So we do have them on this comic.
Hold on. If you're going to show me stuff, give me 2 seconds. Let's get the picture all big so people can see it. There you go. Is that as big as it gets? Nope. Try again. That's as big as it gets on that one, I'm afraid. Go on then. Show us what you've got. Do you have stuff
I'm
you can
not
show
gonna be able to
me?
show you, but I can tell
Okay.
you if you want to do
Go
it
for it.
that
Yeah,
way.
go for it. Yeah.
So we have a stretch goal of the $2,750. We're going to do it. So anybody who puts in for it will get the PDFs 1 through 5. Like no matter what kind of bundle you get, if you get anything, so you're going to get it no matter what. The $3,000 bundle, we're going. Everyone will get a physical copy and receive a physical. Everyone who gets a physical copy will receive a bundle of Avalon stickers that I already have and bought. So if we do reach it, great. I'm going to send them out with the Kickstarter. If not, they're just going to go to events. You know what I mean? So it's something that I already have. $3,500. Anyone who, again, physical, gets a physical issue will get their name, if they want, on a thank you page on issues 4 and 5. Demetrius is going to come up with an idea about utilizing the names in a unique way and kind of showcasing all that.
Cool.
4,000. If you get a physical copy, you will get an exclusive photo of Andy and his family, and Andy and Miller. If you look at issue 5's cover, there's a couple little photos of Andy and his family members and all that stuff too, and Miller. And we're gonna actually have him make it so you can get those photos. He's gonna draw them individually and get those photos out. It'll be kind of like an exclusive thing. And $4,500, every physical backer will get an exclusive Avalon bookmark foil, like a foil bookmark, which I don't know why people like them, but they do. I like them myself, but so I figured let's throw them on there. But they're cool. That they can be very cool depending on how you do them and all that stuff too. But yeah.
There's the cover you talked about, I think, with all the pictures on.
Yep. And then he would just make those individually, and we would just make those and send them out with people who got physical copies.
I find it ironic that you like bookmarks but don't like books.
I know they just look cool, but that's about it.
Yeah. I think I have some bookmarks lying around. I love books, and I never use the bookmark. I'm one of these people who I'll remember the page number and then read the same page over 4 or 5 times. So that's me. What can I say? I am useless like that. That's why I read comic books, less pages.
Right, yeah, they're a little easier. Yeah, you can get it done in like 10 minutes, right?
You mentioned inspiration-wise, you've talked about the zombie movies, you've talked about The Walking Dead. What are you currently reading yourself? You mentioned comic book, you're a comic fan, so what's floating your boat at the moment?
Currently, nothing, and just yeah, I know, horrible. Currently, nothing crazy. I honestly, I just found out because I'll get my Walking Dead like the deluxe editions now, and I just found that there's a comic book, the Crazies comic book. I got that. 30 Days of Night. There's extended comics. I thought there was just like the 2 different versions of it, so I got those. So I'll read those here and there. Other than that, I'm not really reading much right now because I've been focused on the Kickstarter and all that stuff as well. But those would be the 2 kind of little things I was reading and all that.
I see on Twitter every now and again creators say to post things like, please don't send me a script. Please don't do this. Because the idea is if they read the script and then inadvertently use part of that element of that script, then you're breaking some sort of copyright law. How is it? At least that's what I think it is. It is that they can't be bothered to read someone's script. I get it. All right. So, as a writer for yourself, so you're a writer, you enjoy watching movies and you enjoy comic books. How difficult is it to kind of like keep everything all segmented and compartmentalized? Because I love American football. I used to play American football, even over here. So when I watch a ball game, I don't just sit back and go, ball game. I'm watching the lineman doing the stance. I'm finding out where the free safety is, why is that strong safety creeping up, all that sort of stuff. You know what I'm saying? And I'm pointing things out to my wife before the commentators say it. As a writer, and you have all this other stuff going on in your life, how do you make sure that you stay compartmentalized and focused on what's Avalon and what's Brandon versus all the other sort of things that kind of pop into your periphery?
Honestly, I'm still trying to figure it out to a T there. There's definitely things that I've tried and have worked, and there's things I've tried and have not worked, but it's really trying to break it down into time segments, and rather than just trying to do everything all at once, and focus on, family sometimes, focus on work at times, and then really having set dead times for, the comic book or whatever like that. And I do understand that ideas come out of nowhere. So having the conversation, if your family or whatever like that, like letting them know, like when you do have an idea, you have to run upstairs, write it down at least, or put it in the computer real quick or something, but kind of keeping like a check mark on the ideas that you have, and kind of doing and remembering to do all the other things that come with life, and setting a dead time for the creative part of writing and all that stuff too. But yeah.
I wonder if I had your friends on the podcast, I wonder if they'd be able to recognize some of the things you've spotted and you've seen in real life that have made it into the book. And I wonder if they hang around you and go, don't tell Brandon you're upset about something because it'll end up on page 7 of issue 6.
I know you're gonna end up in Avalon here if you say something.
Yeah, you'll be ringing your friends. Hey man, how's you doing? Yeah, I'm fine. I'm totally fine. Nothing going on. Nothing to see. Move
I know,
along.
I'm always fishing for something.
You'd be like, "Are you sure you don't feel a little bit sad today?"
There's nothing at all, right?
I am being very light. I apologize. Right, here we go. If you are interested in the Kickstarter, there it is. We have a short link. I don't believe we have one. Oh my God! Normally Kickstarter addresses as
It's
long
like,
as this.
yeah, it's this huge one. Yeah.
You know how it works. It's Kickstarter. You go to Kickstarter, you type Avalon Comics, boom, and there it is. It'll come up. It's amazing. Or you can click the link. That's fine. Brandon has a whole range of social medias. There is the link. If you click on that, you will get a plethora, a smorgasbord even, of all the different social medias Brandon can be found on. I asked for his socials, and it's like, you know what? Why am I talking? A picture is better than 1,000 words, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So let's do it the new school way. There you go. So on this, you can see very well you've got Kickstarter, links to Global Comics, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. You've got a Patreon there. You've got Redbubble for t-shirts and things like that. Redbubble's are really good. We used to use Redbubble for our shirts. We've moved.
Yeah, it's a fun thing to use. I haven't updated it much, but obviously the stuff is on there. There's a lot of Avalon stuff that you can utilize with and make what you want with it and all that good stuff. But I want to add some of the newer stuff on there, which would be kind of cool if people are interested in it as well.
I can imagine that there should be a black T-shirt with some sort of like grayscale image that comes complete with a pot of red fabric paint.
Oh yeah,
and then you can just blood it all up yourself. There you go.
That's actually a good idea. We're gonna steal that.
Yeah, son of that. Fine, knock yourself out. Go for it. There you go. Brandon, it's been absolutely a pleasure to speak to you about your book. Absolutely. Your
Thank you.
Kickstarter looks great. The book, the art looks fantastic. It reads well. I am absolutely, really, really impressed. I don't like horror, right? Horror is not my bag at all in any shape, way, or form. So to have a horror book come on and impress me, I'm like, that's some good stuff.
That's good to hear. We appreciate hearing that too. It makes us feel good inside.
Good, excellent. Please, please, please back the Kickstarter because this book looks gorgeous. It will look fantastic in the States in your physical copies. As Brandon said, reach out on many social efforts you've got going on there to find out if you can get international rates on stuff. I'm sure Brandon will be more than happy to help out where he can for those sort of things, because after all, we are creating comic books. Cool.
Yes.
Excellent. Brandon, you've been fantastic. Before I let you go, give me a 30-second pitch of why people should kickstart your project.
Why you should is, so we could get funded, of course, right? Just if you're looking for something new and original and trying to bring reality into a fictional world, especially if you're into the zombie genre or horror genre, that I really believe that this would be a comic for you. There's a bunch of people that are part of the team now that were fans first, which is great, for making Avalon become better. Callie Oberlander is one of those. I met her, and she's a fan of the horror, and she's a fan of Avalon, and then she's now part of the team, which is awesome. So if you're a fan of realism, fan of family, and kind of bringing mental health and physical illnesses to light and shining light on it and not letting it go away and going into fading away in the shadows and zombies, and Avalon's a comic for you.
Perfect. Well said. Well done. Brandon, thanks again. Well, I really do appreciate it. You'll do fantastic, I'm sure.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Anytime. For everyone else, don't forget to check out the UCPM for all your favorite shows. You saw the trailer for it earlier. It's a crisis in the Toyverse. You never know. You might get some Avalon figures down the line. That'd be cool.
That would be cool, right?
Definitely. Don't forget to check out the Old Timers Comic Book Show, where the hosts aren't old, but the comics most certainly are. Mother Day special is out this week. There you go. Excellent. Brandon, one last time, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule. I really do appreciate it.
No, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
You are more than welcome. And as for everyone else, I am joining the machine, Hughes. And as always, adios.
Visit undercovercapes.com for the latest and greatest podcasts via the Undercover Capes Podcast Network. Also visit our parent company website, comiccrusaders.com, all about comic pop culture.